First thing you may notice is that the branding has been updated across the program. We have also updated the user interface technology we use so things will look slightly different. This is to help with scaling and high-resolution displays. When upgrading a model to version 27, you will be presented with three options for updating the projection of the model. The first option is None, which will perform no changes to the model, but maps will be disabled until you relocate the model. We will return to this later. The second option is to use the default UK projection, which should work for models built on overlays in the UK. The third option is to provide your own custom proj string. Note that this is quite complex, so we would recommend using the relocate option instead. To relocate your model, open the relocate tool. Type in the node name that you wish to use as a reference and type in the latitude and longitude of that node in the real world. To get the latitude and longitude, you can use a mapping tool such as Google Maps. Find the rough position of that node in the real world, click on this location in Google Maps to get the latitude and longitude. You can relocate a model as many times as you need to. Using the Style menu or shortcut keys, you can switch between satellite or street views. You can also enable buildings if your mapping data supports this. You can switch to different mapping sources using the mapping settings options. Note that the values here are saved with the model and are not encrypted, so bear this in mind if you're going to share the model with others. New to version 27 are signal sets. Signal sets allow you to specify different signal designs for each signalized junction within a model. In your signal settings, you can now add multiple designs. Each design will show the signal set that it has been assigned to. We can now change the phasing for this signal design and create a different staging pattern from the initial design. We can now create a new signal set and assign that new signal design to be used in our new signal set. We can also add signal sets that disable signals at individual junctions. You can have a mix of signal designs and priority based on different junctions within the same signal set. Note that you cannot change the node composition of a junction between different designs. You cannot have a single node junction in one design and a compound junction in another design. We can now choose between our signal sets in our run configurations. Here we will switch to the option design and see it running in the visualizer. By default, your model will have a single signal set called default. When you add signals to a node, a default design will be added and that design will be added to the default signal set. The default signal set will be assigned to any newly created run configurations. This means that if you do not wish to use signal sets, you can simply ignore them and the defaults will take care of including them in your model. You can now import and export all signal data from a model. To export signals, use the Export Signals option in the Edit Network tab. When complete, you will receive a list of the files which have been generated for the model. If there are any errors, they will be displayed at this time. All of the signals data is included in these CSV files. For example, the signal sets file contains a mapping between the signal sets and all the designs assigned to that signal set. To import signals, use the Import Signals option and select the nodes file. This will show a list of the imported data. If there are any errors, they will be displayed at this time. You can now import GTFS data into Paramics Discovery. To do this, use the Import GTFS Feed option in the Edit Network tab. GTFS data for various countries are available on the internet. Once the files have been read in, you will see a summary of the data that will be imported. As the GTFS file does not include dwell times, you can set a range here. You must select the date that you want to import, as different days of the week can have different data. Here you can see that the PT stops have been imported based on their latitude and longitudes. PT services, routes and schedules have also been imported. You may receive warnings if any of the routes imported exit and re-enter the modeled area. These will be split into separate routes. You can now specify a maximum number of concurrent PT vehicles on a route. If this was set to 2 and you already had 2 PT vehicles in the network, then no more PT vehicles could be released for that service until at least one departs the network. Any scheduled release during this time would be skipped. You can now use the right-click menu to select all the routes that pass through a particular link. These will be drawn in the network view, as well as selected in the PT Services dialog. In version 27, the route viewer has been upgraded to show more information about routing costs within the network. With nothing selected, the links will show the cost per meter for each link of the network. The roundabout links here show a cost of 0.14 per meter, and the exit entry arm costs 0.1 per meter. The size and color of the bar show the level of the cost relative to other links in the network. You can enable and disable this using the checkbox. If you select a destination, the overlay will switch to show the cost of reaching the chosen destination from every link in the network. The size and color of the bar shows the level of cost relative to other links in the network. The cost of using the bypass here is lower than the cost of traveling through the town. Links shown in black have no route to the destination. These can be turned off as shown. The cost of going to the next exit and through the town is shown as 175.32, and traveling via the bypass is shown as 153.74, so the route via the bypass has a lower cost. You can use the max cost field to specify the cost at which the bars and color intensity will reach maximum. By setting this to 150, everything above that value will be shown as a full red bar. Below this value, the size and intensity will be reduced. If we select an origin, the route to the destination will be shown. Link costs can be toggled on and off. Slip lanes have been removed in version 27 and can now be added by splitting the link, adding an extra lane, and configuring the turns as required. Ramps have been removed in version 27 and can now be added using the ramp creation tool. Be careful to set the number of lanes for the required number of ramp lanes. Ramps are now lane drops with additional behavior activated via link property. The ramp style merge property enables ramp style behavior where the vehicle must move out of the lane. Existing behaviors such as give way to ramp and the behavior of merging vehicles has been maintained from previous versions. An additional calibration value called lane change headway factor has been introduced. The existing headway factor can be used to influence the space vehicles will leave between themselves and the vehicle ahead. The lane change headway factor can be used to influence the size of gap required when trying to change lane. Both the ramp style merge flag and the lane change headway factor can be used anywhere in your model and are not restricted to being used for modeling ramps. PT stops, hazard overrides, and detectors are now included in the inspector. Incidents and hazard overrides also now have their own creation modes and are edited via the properties window. It is now possible to import and export your demand sets at once. Using the Export CSV tool in the Demands tab, you can select what you want to export from your demand sets. This will show a list of the files that have been exported. To import your demand sets, use the Import from CSV tool. Select the folder where your demands are stored and select the items you wish to import. A list of imported files will be shown. The mini demand editor is now available in the Simulate tab to analyze demands between zones. You can now use the Shift plus Home key to rotate your screen back to north without changing the zoom level. Pressing the Home key will still zoom and rotate the whole model. A new Category Value Override feature in the Styles will show up any link properties that have been changed from the category default. There is also a visibility overlay, which will show you how far back the specified overlay will stretch back from the node. Thank you for watching our overview of Paramics version 27.